Welcome. This is Bihu from Amity Center of Happiness, where we delve into fascinating world of psychology. Today, we are tackling a topic that affects million children childhood trauma and its enduring impact on our adult life. Joining me for this conversation is Aryan Satwah. Aryan Satwah, would you like to introduce yourself?
First of all, thank you so much, Bihu, for inviting me on this call. Hello, everyone. My name is Aryan Satwah. I am a student of Amity in the Institute of International Studies, Amity University, Noida, and today I have been invited to this call to talk about childhood trauma in adulthood.
Okay. So, Aryan, let's start by defining what we mean by childhood trauma. It's a term thrown around a lot, but what specifically constitutes a traumatic experience?
Well, absolutely. Childhood trauma, in my opinion, refers to any event or situation that overwhelms a child's ability to cope, right? And this can include abuse, neglect, bullying, or witnessing violence, or
Mm-hmm.
even the death of a loved one. And it's important to understand that what might appear as a minor incident to an adult can be deeply traumatizing for a child.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. But how can this trauma manifest in adulthood? Are there any telltale signs?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Unresolved childhood trauma can show up in countless ways. For example, some people struggle with anxiety, depression, or PTSD, which we call post-traumatic stress disorder. Others might have a difficulty in maintaining healthy relationship or struggling with trust or intimacy. For example, I know a friend. If I can give an example to explain the audience, I had a friend whose father left at a very young age. He was quite young, around 11, 12 years old, and his father left the house. And when he grew up, because he never had a father, he never had an intimate relationship with his father, he struggled to have healthy relationship with his friends. He developed what we call an insecure relationship, insecure attachment with others. So he could never have a proper healthy friendships, relationships, and that still persists. So that is a result of a trauma of a father leaving their child alone. So childhood trauma can manifest in these ways. It can actually result to self-harm, addiction, or even physical health problems.
That's quite a spectrum. But sometimes people might not even realize their current struggles are connected to their past experience. What would you want to say about this?
Well, absolutely. First of all, that is mostly because people don't even know that they are traumatized because they do not understand that, and they do actually feel very very unsafe in talking about their childhood experiences because of the social taboo which we have on childhood traumas or in mental health generally, especially in India. And this can also emerge in many ways. For example, if a child unfortunately face any kind of trauma and the child unconsciously faces a similar situation when he's an adult, then that could lead to a lot of problems for that guy. Or someone with uncontrollable anger issues might be carrying the emotional baggage of childhood traumatic events. So in these ways it can actually reflect in your childhood, in your adulthood, I'm sorry.
Hmm. Absolutely. Have you, if I may get personal, have you ever experienced childhood trauma?
I have actually. I was very young, around 8 years old or 10 years old, and I was consistently bullied by my friends. I called them friends, but they used every possible situation to pick on me, to bully me, sometimes even beat me up, and I never had the spine to stand up to them. What it eventually led was that I became less confident. I was not able to speak up for myself, and I did not even realize that I was traumatized because of what happened to me in childhood. It is only now when I started going to therapy and when I started talking to someone, I realized that maybe that dent of had a lot of impact on my mental health. So yeah, I had a lot of confidence issues due to that childhood bullying.
It's getting pretty heavy, and kudos to you for overcoming it in such decent ways. But one of the important aspects of having this conversation as such is what should a person do if they might feel that they're carrying a childhood trauma or it's
Well,
somewhere
first,
manifesting in their adulthood.
first of all, self-reflection is the key. Like I said, people in India particularly do not want to talk about it because there is a taboo around mental health. We feel that if we seek therapy or if we talk to someone, then we are mentally sick. In India, in Hindi, we say कि तुम पागलों के डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो, तुम पागल हो. And somewhere talking about mental health is connected to weakness, right?
Right.
So first of all, you need to in actually reduce that taboo. You need to get over that taboo, and you need to self-reflect. And definitely consider the possibility of seeking professional help from a therapist, because only therapy can provide a safe space to explore the past experiences and develop a healthy coping mechanism.
That's very true. Do you think this stigma is somewhere, you know, stopping the young generation to stop seeking therapy? And what are the ways that, you know, they can get over this stigma surrounding therapy so that it can be truly transformative to them as well as to people around them?
Well, first of all, I think awareness is the key, and in my opinion, it is a lot of job has to be done by the schools, right? Because I think the education system needs to step up when it comes to talking about mental health. Because the school also sometimes fails in doing its job. Because many students, in fact, face most of these childhood traumas in school itself. So the school has to start that. And in my opinion, if you want to seek therapy, then you should basically ignore the voices. I was told by my parents that you should not seek therapy because it's not good. And I saw a lot of people who had some misconceptions about therapy. So you need to ignore that. You need to trust your therapist, and you need to gather the courage of going to a therapist first of all. See,
Right.
in my opinion, it is your life, and if you do not have the courage, if you don't step up and do something for your mental health, you will just be trapped in this vicious cycle of trauma. And it will not just impact your life, it will impact the life of your wife, your kids, your husband, everyone. So you need to step up. You need to have that courage to speak out, because at the end of the day, you are not alone. A lot of people have that trauma, and yeah. So I think it all goes down to courage and awareness.
Definitely. Breaking the silence is crucial. Before we wrap up, do you have a final thoughts or advice to our listeners?
Absolutely. I just want to tell everyone that you are not alone. So many people carry these burdens, but definitely there is hope. Healing is possible, and with courage and support, you can overcome the past and build a joyful and fulfilling life. I mean, 5 years ago, 5 years ago, I used to feel that people who go to therapy are mentally sick and they cannot cope up and they are weak. But today, I actually personally encourage to seek therapy, right? And I think it's a very good thing. Whatever I have become or whatever positive traits I have in myself is because I started talking to someone professional. So I would encourage more and more people to seek therapy. I would also urge the society to start accepting that mental health is an issue. In my opinion, it's a pandemic. Mental health should be considered a pandemic. We were all serious about COVID. We become very serious when it comes to our physical health. But I think maintaining our mental health is definitely much more important or equally important to physical health. And looking at the current generation where we have descended into this chaos, where people have more and more access to social media, which is practically destroying their lives, I think it is time has come that people start accepting mental health as an issue, and we start going to the therapy centers to lead a better life and to tackle our traumas.
Right. I have one last question which I just found. The
Yeah.
repercussions of childhood trauma, as you stated before, are far reaching, potentially manifesting in various forms from challenges in forming and maintaining healthy relationships to battling with mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, or post traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD.
Yes,
Sometimes what from where it mostly stems is the environment around us. So it's not always about the nurturer, so as to say, but also has a lot to do with the nature in which the child is brought up. Do you think while raising a child, the parent should be a little bit careful about how and which kind of an environment the child is raised up in?
absolutely. I think that's the basic most thing that that a parent should consider. See, any child who has to grow up in a violent or an abusive environment will definitely not have a healthy life, right? If a child is, and I would issue a trigger warning to someone sensitive, if a child is consistently assaulted by someone from the family, because we have many cases where children are unfortunately subject to molestation or sexual assault. If a child is consistently subjected to that kind of environment, or even if he leaves that, if a child is consistently beaten up by their parents or has to face drug abuse, because many children do face that, then that child will definitely have a lot of problems when it comes to their adult life. For example, when we talk about the molestation cases, it's many it's the member of the family who's doing that to the child.
Yeah.
And when these children actually grow up, they are extremely afraid to have any kind of intimate relationship with someone else because something bad happened to them in the childhood. So it is absolutely important for the parents to listen to their children, and it is absolutely important for the parents to keep their child in a secure environment. They have to keep their children away from all the kind of abuse, assault, or any kind of toxicity. That is absolutely important.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We'll include some helpful resources in the show notes for our listeners. Another thing is that how does friendship, apart from like seeking professional help, how does friendship in general help a child or an adult who is manifesting its sides of childhood trauma overcome them slowly, step by step?
Well, friendships do help a lot. When you have someone of your age who understands their issues, who makes you feel secure, who basically hears you out, it can be as good as therapy, in my opinion, right? Because children at a very tender age, when you are in your teenage, especially, you are more willing to listen to your parents than your parents. And I think a secure relationship from a friend who is not willing to, who is willing to actually hear you out, to make you feel secure, that can help you a lot. But that's not enough in my opinion. Friendships do help to a certain level, but at the end of the day, it's better if you seek therapy.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Arvind. It was great having your expertise and compassion on board with us.
Thank
And yeah, thank you. We hope this conversation on childhood trauma was insightful and empowering. Remember, you are not defined by your past. You have the power to heal and thrive. Until next time, take care.